All right, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SNX Radio. I'm Coley, also known as ColeyUFO, and tonight we have none other than Jay Austin with us. Jay, people are probably wondering, who are you? If they haven't seen your episode, kind of give them let them know who you are, what you do,
Yeah,
and why you're
thank
here.
you for having me on. So good evening, guys. So my name's Jay Austin. I've been active within UFO discourse since about 2013 now. So I've been at this a little while. And I decided to open up a page called the Anomalies Archives, formerly known as Ufology UK. As my growing understanding of what we're dealing with has expanded over the years, I felt the name change from strictly ufology as it sort of pigeonholed us, so to speak. So, yeah, that's me. And looking forward to getting into it tonight, Coley.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. Before we get started, I just want to run through chat really quick. We have the best, and I want to thank all the mods that are here tonight. I see all of you, and I appreciate all the work that you guys have been doing behind the scenes to not only get it promoted, but to make sure that everything stays cool. So anyway, I saw Gary. I'm trying to get to the top here. I was like, man, I saw Gary. Hey, Gary, welcome. And Blazer, two of our best wrenches ever. Dennis, nice to see you and welcome. And we got, DJ, very nice to see you. Moon at Noon, always a pleasure to see you. Let's see here. It keeps popping up. Oh, BD. Oh, Bigfoot Dwarf. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Kurt W75 is in the house. That's awesome. Aussie, nice to see you. Great having you back. I love the chat when not just certain, but Laura, nice to see you. Chiru Sounds, and thank you so much, Chiru, for taking that wrench and helping me. Diana, great to have you, and thank you again, you guys, for keeping everything, keeping an eye out, as you may say. So, but yeah, no, this is great. Midnight Mark. Oh, hey, Mark's awesome too. I appreciate you being here. Yes. So I could go on, and I think that Raybert, hey, glad to see you here also. And anybody else, I apologize. It's Midnight Night Watchers. It's going so fast. I don't think I'll get through everybody. But anyway, back to our guest. And if you haven't seen Corey Goode or James Gilliland with ECETI Ranch before, they've both been on before, and they absolutely bring it every single time. James is an author. He's got so many great, they both are, books being published. ECETI Ranch, if you have ever heard of it, he's an international speaker. He's really been paving the way. Corey, he's SSP year 20 and back. He's got Ascension TV. He's got a lot of things in the works. And he has the Disclosure Summit conference coming up, which you saw. If you didn't, go back to the beginning of this video, and I'll also play it at close. Kind of tells you. So if you're going to be out in that area in Colorado next month, definitely that would be a place to go. So without further ado, let me bring James and Corey on here. And I know I never do it justice, but I wanted to welcome both of you back to the show, and really, like, your congratulations, James. You're going to be speaking at the conference next month. That'd be exciting. I'm going to try and make it out there for sure. But yeah, that's awesome.
It's going to be a great conference. It's funny. There's a lot of really high integrity people speaking at this conference, and then there's another conference here right after I leave in Hawaii that unfortunately has a lot of low integrity people. But I guess we're going to balance that out.
It's good to see that, though. Good. It seems like always the people that should not be there are the ones that are there. Yeah. And in this case, I actually, every single person that you had coming on, Corey, I was like, yeah, I like them. So it's rare you even get that. So I'm like, man,
Well, we really hope to see you there. It'd be nice to meet you in person.
I know that would be fun. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try. I think it would be absolutely great. And James and everybody, like I said, they're all such powerhouses, and you guys cover and bring such a huge part of this that people don't even realize, like all you're doing behind the scenes and in your communication. And James, I was just looking. I would have pulled it too. Your ECETI, your new commercial, and that was like chilling all on its own. But I mean, congratulations to the both of you. This is not easy. I know that you've sat in some pretty uncomfortable places, but on behalf of the whole community, I want to thank you for doing what you've done. So
yeah, likewise, I second that as well, gents.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's it's very interesting because I did not have an esoteric background at all. It was very much raised in Christianity. And kind of a conservative type of background, and being introduced to the community in 2015, 2016, when I started doing conferences with David Wilcock, it was a bit of a culture shock to me. The people are very similar in certain ways to what you would find at church or other spiritual gatherings, but there was always a certain percentage that were just a little nutty. And the rest of the people were just really awesome. I've met some of the most loving, awesome people. But unfortunately, even those people get caught up in all of the gossip and slander. And I've had people that I thought were good friends just disappear, and I'll hear later that it's based on some drama coming from someone else or something that's been made up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. It really is. And I hated to see and so much of that. And people, you know what, if that were ever you and you were caught up in any of this and you started to realize like all these years that maybe we should not have been blindly trusting the information going on. I mean, feel free to reach out and apologize to these guys. I'm not saying this on my own behalf, but feel free, because that does so much damage and it takes them that much longer just to get back to that point. So if you fell into that trap, I definitely think that we should be sending James Gilliland and Corey Goode some apology letters at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll give you a little prophecy right now. There's just some major shifts, major energies, planetary alignments. The sun is slamming the earth right now. And it doesn't matter what field you're in. If you've been operating outside of universal law, if you've engaged in all the competition, the backstabbing, the gossip, and everything else, and if if you're a poser and a shill and you're not who you say you are, everything is going to come up. It is going to come up hard and fast. It's coming up now. And just a little heads up, I think it'd be a really good idea to get on the right side of the fence, because if you're not, you're going to hurt yourself. And I'm not threatening anybody. It's just
you didn't say you're going to hurt them. Yeah, they're going to hurt themselves.
And I am watching right now people making some of the most sick, slanderous accusations, totally unfounded, impossible. There's no way that could happen. And it's just like, are you serious? And in each case, I track it back to somebody that is very deceptive. They're posers or shills. They have actually ripped us off for quite a lot of money. And you track this back to the origin of these people, and you go, oh man, these are the guys. This is coming from the same people, the same posers, shills, and people that were threatened by anybody authentic. And yeah, I'm having to deal with that. And I just blow it off and ignore it, but it's gotten so bad now. I am going to have to take out the trash. Basically, I am going to have to start naming some names here pretty quick and show what their real motive is, because really that the reason they're attacking and slandering is because we know where the bodies are buried, We know who they are, what they've done. We know who's authentic, who's not. And so they're just coming unglued right now. So you know, to me, it's just like, I've already died twice. You know, I'm good with God. I don't, you know, my ego's been so smashed. I don't have one anymore. but you know, he's defending. So, you know, give it your best shot. You're just defining yourself. You're just looking into the mirror, and you are going to, you know, there's going to be a boomerang. It's going to be amplified and accelerated. So have fun with that, because it's all coming out. And I'm just trying to figure out how much I want to participate in it. You know, I might have to get involved a little bit, only because, I mean, Corey's been on the front lines, and I've been kind of backing him up as much as I can, but you know, I'm starting to get on the front lines now. So
yes, but you have to. I think if you just let it, I was told the same thing. Just sit back, and I thought, you know what? That I feel like that's what a person who's trying to hide something. But you know, I was a therapist for 7 years. The thing of projection, what James says, is absolutely true. That's a defense mechanism. Everybody projects. They spew all of their problems. It's like they can't own them themselves, so they come down such, you know, just like the iron rod comes down, you know, if somebody else, it's their issues. They should keep them.
Yeah. I think they've gone so deep into their lies and deception and everything that they actually believe their story. I mean, it's like a mental illness now. And no matter, no amount of truth, no amount of evidence, no amount is going to pull them out of it. But I think it might be good to make available the real story, so people can make their decision, not just go on one side. But I don't know. I can do it with loving detachment and not being attached to the whole thing, and just slam out the truth. Doesn't bother me.
Do you feel that that's got accelerated, so to speak, since 2017 with the release of a lot of this?
Yeah, it's really accelerated. It is. I think this year it's all going to hit the fan, and all the way through till the summer. Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of people go down, a lot of people exposed for who they really are, a lot of psyops, a lot of planned opposition. You know, all this stuff. Yeah. I mean, I'm watching people actually start shape-shifting. They're having trouble holding their form, and they're not who you think they are. But I just watched and recently, oh my God, this guy can't even hold his form anymore. But
like you say, you know, to a degree, I suppose it's all got to play out the way it has to, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's a plan in place, and as we ascend and enter this new paradigm, I think, like you say, all's going to be revealed and the veil's going to be dropped.
Yeah, it's not, you know, nobody can stop what's coming. You know, the forces that are coming are beyond anybody's imagination. So if you're not aligned with universal law, and you're not trying to hold a high frequency, and you're not in service to humanity, the earth, you know, all that is going to be revealed, and your past is going to come up and bite you in the ass. And so I would say, you know, it's time to come clean. You know, if you've harmed somebody, or you know, make restitution, tell the truth, you know, and that's the only way out, because everything else is going to be amplified and accelerated.
Yeah, I think so too.
You're only as sick as your secrets. That's what they say.
Yeah.
I don't have any. You know, I always tell people, I mean, I don't want to go down that road, but it's kind of like, okay, according to the slander and the gossip, basically, I'm gay, I'm a pedophile, I'm a oh God, what's the other one? Oh, I'm a womanizer, I'm a wait a second, it gets, I own a Russian bestiality ring. You know,
my God.
I'm here all by myself on this ranch right now, but supposedly I have like all these underage women that I'm abusing, and for the past 4 years there hasn't been anybody here. I mean, there's been maybe 3 couples and a man and his 2 sons that help with the coffee harvest. You know, I've been so busy writing books and doing counseling work and other stuff, I haven't had time. There's been actually nobody here, and all these rumors are flying. And the ones creating the rumors are the people that actually ripped us off big time, that we went into partnership with to create ECETI Hawaii, and they took the land and the money and everything. Unbelievable. And so they have a vested interest. They're trying to cover their ass by demonizing me to validate what they did. And so it's going down a really dark road. And so to me, I don't care. I know who I am. You know, I've with the 2 near-death experiences and everything else I've had, I'm good. But I do know that I'm just trying to figure out what part I want to play in this. You know, how much I want to expose this and
you're talking my language.
Yeah. So I think it's gotten to the point where it's gotten so bad. And I have actually named a few names and exposed a lot of this stuff in the past, but it's getting so bad. I'm probably going to have to do something. I have a black helicopter over me right now. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It is right.
I can hear that.
Aren't they wonderful? Oh gosh, if it's not one thing, it's the other, but whatever it is being hyped up. I feel like we've never been so close to whatever.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
I mean, they're right on my house. They're right. They do it all the time. More the odds during the show, right when the show starts, and they just happen to fly right over my house and sit there for a little while. You know, come on.
There's always, in big shows like this, it never fails. There's always technology, like, you know, internet, like where it's hard to get for people to get past that. And then once they get past that, it's like, then you get stuff like this that's going on. But James, I mean, you are who you are. I mean, I can't imagine some of the stuff that you must go through.
Well, you know, here's what's really weird. I just talked to my sister this morning on the phone. It was really good, but she goes, nobody knows you. They said they go, nobody has been around you as long as we have. And they said, you know, you've never, ever been abusive to anybody, or, you know, and you've always been totally honest and loyal, you know, they said, these people that are coming up with this crap and all the gossip and rumors, you know, are beyond ridiculous because they don't even know you. They haven't even been around you, you know? And so, and that's what I'm seeing what's going on. I always tell people, come over, you know, come over and talk to us, hang out, feel the energies.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Forget about all this bullshit going on. You know, don't fall into this nonsense. Come over and say hi. I mean, we've got nothing to hide. You know, I won't be offended. You can ask me any question you want. But
I feel like some of them are mentally, there's a certain portion of this community that has some severe mental health issues, along with every single, severe.
And dangerous. In some cases, dangerous. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, one thing I am guilty of is being a man. I mean, that alone in some communities is going to really trigger people. And being
a single man who likes women. Oh my God.
We're throwing you to the fire now.
Folks, I'm not gay. I'm not a pedophile. I'm just a normal human male. And that's it. You know, you can make up all these stories. It's just insane what is coming out of these people. And I didn't want to go there, but it's almost getting to the point where I might have to, you know, make a call to an attorney and say, hey, you know, this is really interfering in my work, in my sole purpose and mission. You know, you might have to straighten this out. But I don't want to go there. But
you know what though? Sometimes they take that as if you even have a cease and desist letter sent. Like as soon as the last time that I filed copyrights on the two that I booted one out just before, they literally, like, then they rake you, then they have all of your information, they have your need. So that's the only part I caution.
Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go there because then I I have so much to do right now with the books and the radio shows and the counseling work and the conferences and everything else that's aligned with the awakening and healing of humanity, the earth, and disclosure and everything else, that I don't have time for this nonsense. And but I don't know. I haven't figured out yet exactly what I mean. Energetically, there's going to be a massive boomerang, going back to the source, and they are going to be exposed, because I always tell people, be careful. The character you're out to assassinate just might be your own, and so you're going to go that direction. There's going to be a massive mirror and an amplifier there, have fun with that.
Yeah, I've been reading and also reading through the comments. There's a lot of great ones for you too, Corey. Says you've been an inspiration. Keep you and James both keep up the fight. A lot of positive stuff being said. So, and John Allen, he said, so they're everybody's really excited that, and then poor James, that makes me mad, because you're, out of anybody that I know, I'll say this about James, is the most authentic and genuine person that and for me to, everybody knows it's not a secret, any other guests have been on, but I favor James, and James is but I've gotten to know him really well, and he sent me so much stuff, and anytime I've asked him for evidence or anything like that, he's not only just sent that, I have so much that I don't even begin to know what to do with it for documentation. And Corey and him, and so it's these two, and I've gotten to know Corey over, and the one thing that I know about Corey is very much, and I was surprised at how much some of this does impact his life, because Corey, when you look at you, you're you've made it in this, you know what I'm saying, your voice is, but that price, I get that, how that comes with a very, very heavy price tag.
It is a heavy price, and it's not only when you talk about these types of things, it's open season for every whack job out there who's looking to attack someone to attack you. They're like, yes, this guy's talking about blue avians. We can jack him for years to come. Yay. They're all excited, But there's not only that aspect, there's the aspect of all of the strange LARPer phenomenon, people coming in and they take your story, your information, your life story, and then they turn it into something else, and they start spinning it in all of these dark, just bad ways. So you have to fight to keep your information pure, and that's why I, filed trademarks, and, in court, I had to, for the deposition, I had to say that I created everything so I could own it, so I could enforce my ownership of it and keep people from, stealing it. There's so much my family has gone through, stalkers, death threats. Death threats is early. I think the last one was maybe in December. So this has deeply affected my family. For me, I was having these strange contact experiences, and I was trying to make sense of it. And David Wilcock, thought it was very interesting, along with the secret space program stuff. And we started doing a show. And, I wish I had delivered the information in a different way. And even, at the time, it was all fresh. We hear, there's people out there like, Chris Bledsoe, and there's a lot of other families that have the same kind of contact that we do. And they're being studied by the government. The government wanted to study us. They wanted to study James at one point, wanted us to do MRIs and all that. So there's so much you have to deal with from every direction. And then the business side of things inside of the ufology movement, and, how people that, with sparkly eyes and say namaste and, would give you the warmest hugs are the same people that won't pay you for a conference or will rip you off in some other way, and then justify it. So this has been a hellacious ride for my family. The majority of people are awesome. We love them, and we want them to come to our conference to have good people. But it's just the small crazy few that has made it so unbearable that, it ruined our lives. I cut off contact with the phenomenon. We started going to church. I said, leave me the F alone. We did everything we could to block the phenomenon. And for about 1.5 years, it was blocked. Now, since a certain person came into my life, a very powerful person that has connections, I started having contact again. And it happened in a bigger way, in front of, witnesses here for my birthday, a lot of really wild stuff. And it's been really disturbing to me because I try to put that behind me. And now I'm getting all of these downloads and new information. Why the hell would I, go out again and jeopardize myself and my family by putting this type of information out? So what do I do with it? And it's some pretty heady and heavy information about reality itself. So, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this information. And I'm actually at the event in April. I'm going to talk about my evolution of contact with whatever I'm in contact with. And I'm going to talk about the old contact and the new contact. And the old contact was esoteric in presentation. The new one is kind of biblical, medieval terminology type of concepts. And, one of the things that I finally learned is that when we have these experiences, many of us, we take them literal, like if a alien comes into your home, departs certain information to you, they look a certain way, and everything happens in a certain order. When we report it, we just report what the alien looked like and what they said. We don't put it all together because it's a multidimensional language, a hyperdimensional language. It's like a living, breathing hieroglyph. These things will manifest in your life physically and kind of act out a scenario. And it's directly imparting information to you that's useful at the time, but you're not picking up on all the fine details. There's a much deeper message and information. And I'm looking through that lens at my old contact, that contacts that happened and the new ones. And I'm trying to look at it objectively, not get all caught up in it spiritually like I did before and emotionally. I'm trying to be objective and look at it as data and try to figure out whatever this NHI is, what's its agenda, and what's it really trying to communicate. Are these experiences that we're like, okay, this happened, then this happened, is that really the message, or is it everything, all the symbology, everything that's encoded in the experience? Is that the message? And if so, we've been freaking missing most of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's funny because both Corey and I came kind of to the same conclusion on a lot of things. Basically, it was really weird. I kind of have a different perspective because I had even at age 5, I was dying in the hospital, and Mary came to me and pulled me out of it. And then I had around 25, I had a drowning where I went through the tunnel and went all the way to the source and hung out there for a while and experienced the other dimensions along the way. And I've been going back and forth along that vibrational continuum, the different dimensions since over 40 years now, probably 50 years. But experiencing all the different stuff. And I was even at an early age, I was brought before the councils, and they had a plan. I didn't know what it was. I remember going before the councils and seeing the guys on the councils, and some of them were people we would recognize that are ascended masters, and some were blue skinned, and some were very tall. And there is really a consortium of people. These are very high councils, like the like the Andromedan Council, the Palladian Council, the Council of Light, Syrian Council, and things like that. I haven't been working a lot with the Arcturians. I don't know a lot about them, so I can't speak about them, but they have been coming. We have been photographing their ships and everything. They seem to be of a very high nature as well. So I was kind of coming from the top down and creating a real spiritual learning techniques, how to heal unseen negative influences, clear wounds, traumas, wrong conclusions, past experience, get the layers off so we can all make our own connection with Creator, God, Great Spirit, whatever name you want to give it. So I was coming at it from a different angle. And then I came to realize after a while that there's always been, the only way I can say is there's always been like two major gods going on. You got the Old Testament God and the New Testament God. You got the jealous, wrathful, genocidal guy, and then you got the all-loving, all-forgiving guy. And now that the Ethiopian Bible has come out, it talks about this. It talks about the Demiurge, the shadow god, and the Archons, and the reptilians, and the Greys, and all these guys that are part of that discarnate spirit, shadow beings, you name it. They're all part of that. And most of it is in the unseen. It's right outside our ability to see it. It's in the fourth dimension. And they're kind of running the show, and they're in the process of being kicked out right now. And so they're going nuts. I mean, they're trying to grab anything they can and hang on to anything they can. A lot of people are working with them and don't even know it because they don't have discernment. They haven't gained the tools and techniques, through a lot of different cultures that teach this. But and that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing this like not to be graphic, but there's a big old Archon reptilian F fest going on, and people don't even know, and it's all being exposed. And I'm actually watching some people who are not who people think they are actually losing their ability to shapeshift, and it's kind of hilarious watching it. But they're coming unglued. Their stories are all collapsing, and so now all the posers and the shills and the people that are ulterior motives and things, they're crashing, they're being exposed, and it's all coming down. It's from the top down. The higher conscious energy is pressing in. There's planetary alignments, the sun's going ballistic, the earth's supercharged. And so you're going to see a lot of chaos and and this demiurge, the archons and all their little minions right now are freaking out, and they're trying to jump into anything they can and hang on to anything they can. And there's a lot of people either in ignorance or willingly working with these energies, and it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. And it totally made sense when I started reading the Ethiopian Bible. I mean, everything that Jesus was talking about, I mean, he explains this explicitly, along with all the teachings of the women and Mary and everything. A lot of it's stuff we've been teaching for 40 years. A lot of people go, "Oh, that's blasphemy. Don't talk about that." The divine feminine, and all this stuff. But it's crazy what's happening right now. And I'm watching it happen. And if you are authentic and you are carrying a high frequency, they're going to come after you. And it's, a lot of times you have to wake up and realize almost everything you've been told is wrong, and the people you thought were holy are actually not so holy. And it just goes on and on and on. But it's a crazy maker. It's a real crazy maker. But to me, the only thing that's got me through it is just to practice loving detachment and maintain my own connection with Creator, and just sit there and smile and sometimes act stupid and watch them hurt themselves, watch them collapse in on themselves. And that's what's happening right now. It's all collapsing.
Could you, James, give any advice to anyone who's getting caught up in all this nonsense, shall we call it that, at the moment? Because there seems to be so much diversion, so much hatred, to put a fine word on it. And it's like we're all split at the moment, whereas, collectively we come together, unison. we can raise that vibration, and that seems to be deliberately being lowered at the moment.
Yeah, Lama told me something I'll never forget. I was studying with this Lama, and he said, the reason there's so few people that are enlightened on this planet is because it's so damn simple.
Yeah.
And they've missed the point that, and he said, go out in nature, focus on love and joy and bliss until you become it. It's and do your work, do your prayer and meditation time, especially out in nature, because nature, I've never lost an argument with a tree or a bush, or a garden, which is where I spend most of my time. But it always reflects back to you. But right, we have tools. We're teaching a class here in May, a self-mastery class, where we are going to teach a lot of these techniques. Brilliant. In May at the ranch, and we have them on our website. They're in all my books, on how to heal unseen negative influences and develop your own inner sensitivity, which I call the BS meter. And you use universal law to discern, like universal law is universal peace, brother, sisterly love, individual freedom, and prosperity for all. If it isn't aligned with that, and if you're acting outside of universal law, you're going to create karma. Yeah. And there's going to be a major backlash, and that's all being amplified and accelerated right now. So that's the best thing I can say right now is drop into the heart, make your own personal connection, sense and feel what's going on, sense and feel the motives and agendas of those around you. Yeah. And it's really time to take a stand and really set some boundaries and just say, hey, sorry, I'm not going to go there. You have fun with that. And this isn't aligned with universal law where I want to be. And I think we're all going to have to do that. And for that, because of that, that means there's going to be some huge changes. And with the huge changes, there is going to be some chaos, as things, the old world's collapsing and there's a whole new world coming in to take its place. So there will be a bifurcation of worlds or timelines happening. And, and all the Native American elders, the Hopi Prophecy Rock, all of them talk about these times right now that, those who choose to live a spiritual life in harmony with each other, in service to humanity, the earth, they're going to continue on the upward spiral. The ones that choose, all the power over others, control, to dominate all that other nonsense, even a lot of the negative technology, that group is on the downward spiral and they're going to collapse. And so, it's happening right now. We're in the middle of that. Those prophecies are now coming true.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's just going to be a bit of a bumpy ride till we get there,
Yeah.
But as for yourself, Corey, with you mentioning about these new downloads from what you're channeling, how do you protect yourself and your family this time round to what you did last time when you released this information?
Is he muted?
Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, well, I kind of gave you an idea of the background I came from. I was in the IT field for 21 years. I wasn't really into all of this. And so when I started having this contact, it was beyond amazing, and I got extremely caught up in it. What that type of contact does to a person who's unprepared for it is it literally puts you through the ringer.
Yeah.
And I think this thing puts as many people through the ringer as possible to see who comes out in a way that it can still use, and going through the ringer is part of the training of how to interact with it. It has not been a pleasant experience. And like I said, I was absolutely sure, of all of my experience, I was absolutely sure that I understood everything that was going on at the time. And, authoritatively would argue against anyone, if they tried to say, well, maybe it means this, or maybe it means that. But now, after some time of learning to deal with this phenomenon and some wisdom, I'm just approaching it completely differently. And, you know, I think something very higher dimensional is trying to interact with us. It doesn't have the language or the understanding of us exactly to dumb itself down or to communicate with us in certain ways. So it uses metaphor, symbology, and a lot of other interesting ways to interact with us. And half the time we freaking turn it into a religion, you know, and when, you know, because we're just, most of us are not prepared and not, just not prepared for that type of contact, because it really, it can do a lot to your mind. In the beginning, you feel very special. It affects your ego. You get addicted to the communications. Then you get addicted to people wanting to hear it and seeing how it's affecting them. And, you know, it was a whole process. And I've seen many others go through it. And it's usually people that come, you know, from a normal walk of life into this. And of course, you have all the crazies that we've talked about that are just there. But for the uninitiated people like myself, who, you know, worked 9-to-5 jobs, IT field for 21 years, to come into this type of existence, it's almost indescribable.
Yeah, very much a baptism of fire.
Yes.
I got a question, Corey, if you don't mind. It's kind of like the angle I'm coming at is from a different angle, and then I have seen a lot. I mean, we've filmed all kinds of UFOs and everything, and there's definitely so many levels to ufology. And I'm not real. I mean, I've heard things and everything else, but there are so many stories out there about our secret space fleet, our government, a galactic federation, federation of worlds. And do you know, like, who's who, like what on more kind of like the nuts and bolts level or whatever, like what's going on?
You know, I've been finding more and more out. You know, this is all just so complicated. Like a lot of the people that I dealt with in the military that were giving me information were from the Collins Elite type programs, and they believe everything's God, the devil, angels, demons, you know. So a lot of the information was framed from their perspective that I was, you know, after I left the circuit talking about this stuff. And they are under, of course, they dug in and they saw that this secret space program is really happening, and that it's a corporate conglomerate that's controlling it. It's kept off the books and records for, you know, governments. They said that they've seen that it is real, but through their perspective, it was the fallen angels tricking humanity into helping them back into heaven, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, there's all these different perspectives. There is a file cabinet somewhere that has all the data, all the information. It's there. But if you're looking for someone to come to a podium and give you all the answers, it's not going to frickin' happen, because every single person that puts their hand on that file cabinet and opens it, pulls a file open and reads it, they all have a different perspective on what the hell it is we're dealing with.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's subjective.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. And I like that you said that, Corey, that you weren't prepared for this. Like nobody, and to James, I'm sure, like, you know, it's like when I first started this, and Jay's also an experiencer, so we got 4 of us up here. It was not, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, you get overtaken by this excitement, it's just like something so crazy and unbelievable. Nobody knows that reaction. And you just don't honestly, like, the veil just, rips wide open. That's not how that works either.
Yeah.
This is it's a growing process.
Yeah, with me, what happened was after the second near-death experience, I mean, as a kid, I was seeing UFOs and everything. I was raised in the high desert in Apple Valley. And there's all kinds of back engineered stuff going on there and regular UFOs and everything. It was all, so we just accepted, okay, they're real, they exist. I didn't know who they were. And I was fine with that. But after the second near-death experience, I had all these beings appearing to me, and it was freaking me out. And to me, everybody else were spooks. I mean, I'm talking to Jesus, that's it. You're all a bunch of spooks, and I don't know what I'm doing here. And it was freaking me out. And so Mary was appearing to me ever since the childhood experience. And then he came in and he brought Baba G, and they call Baba G the Yogi Christ. And he introduced me to Baba G, and he said, you need to go study Eastern thought. And so I went and studied with yogis, and I did, I don't know, 7 or 8 years of yoga, and met a lot of gurus and things like that, real ones, and got initiated through their program. And then when I was done with that, he shows up with another being by the name of White Eagle. And I go, okay, what am I supposed to do here? And then I found out that Mary was connected to Buffalo Calf Woman. It was kind of like the same oversoul in a different body in a way. And so they appeared, and I said, okay, so I guess I got to go hang out with the Native Americans. And I did. I hung out with a lot of chiefs and a lot of different nations and did a lot of ceremonies and things like that. And so each time they would bring somebody to me and say, you have to go learn this culture so you can understand and learn the tools and techniques and their whatever. And then finally at the end of all that, after doing all that, I realized it doesn't matter. Basically it's like the bottom line is it's all God. We all exist within that, whatever you want to call it, that field of consciousness and energy. Yeah. We all have different names for it and different ways of connecting to it. And basically there's the force, there's the light force and the dark force. And people of each culture, some are working with the light force and some are working with the dark force. It's just like Star Wars. It's the same thing. Just because somebody says they're this or that, or a guru or a yogi or Native American, just because they say that doesn't mean, they're working on the light side. A lot of them are. But what I found out is that there's 2 things we go by. Just because you're dead doesn't mean you're enlightened. And just because you're an ET doesn't mean you're benevolent. So I understanding that and having these other allies on the light force and learning how to heal unseen negative influences and learning those techniques, that got me through. Because if I didn't do that, I'd probably be in a rubber room right now if I didn't have those tools. Because I was having everything from discarnate spirits to grays to you name it, screwing with me, trying to sabotage my path, along with the masters and the Pleiadians and the Orion Counts of Light and the Andromedas. They're appearing too at the same time. So it was both happening at the same time. So, and that's what I see, is that we have to, we're all going to have to go through that phase. We're all going to be tested. We have to go through the fire. And fortunately now the tools are here to help clear those unseen negative influences, to shield yourself and, live according to universal law, and that'll get you through. Yeah. But I had no access to any of that. And so I had to go out and find it myself. But now I pass that on to others. I help others understand and the basics, basically.
For anyone who's beginning this journey, similar to what you were just saying, with having to experience these different cultures, how would they decipher between what is light and, what is appearing as light but can be deceptive? Because there seems to be a lot of trickery to this.
A lot.
There is a lot out there. The main thing is, you apply universal law, to your experience? And are they empowering you to make your own personal God connection? You know,
Yeah.
are they creating an external worship, being them, you know, a lot of times?
Yeah.
Or are they empowering you to you know, make your own personal connection with Creator, which is really what Yeshua and Jesus, all the masters taught, you know, when you really get down to the base foundation. And we have to develop our own inner sensitivity, like I was saying before, you know, that bullshit meter, so you can sense the intentions of the person you're working with, because not that smiling face a lot of times has an agenda.
Yeah, it does.
You know, a lot of predators smile right before they eat, you know, so it may not be what you think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But the one thing, you know, I'd like to interject just from personal experience is the more I've trusted my intuition, the more doors open and the more it guides me in the right path.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, when you know, I think ego is a massive thing in a lot of people at the moment. And it stops us from progressing. It stops us from aligning and stops us from evolving, in my opinion. If we
spiritual ego.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good. See, all that's going to be amplified right now. And so when that gets amplified, you're going to see a lot of people strutting their stuff on stage, you know, the see me, dig me folks, and they're going to fall on their face because they can't come up with the energy or the goods. You know, they have a good story, but they don't have the connection.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see all that exposed, and it's happening right now.
I think, Jay, with your background too, but people that don't understand, you are out walking the talk. I mean, you did MMA over there. It's not like you're, you know, I mean, you have that celebrity persona, and you came out and you're talking about this topic too. So please take some credit there. I just wanted to.
Yeah, but it's been an education for myself, you know, from being a fighter, which essentially has to have that ego. That's the driving force behind what makes you choose that path, to kind of coming away from that. And like, you know, I couldn't think of anything worse now than trying to harm another human being.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's a sport and it's, you know, there's that element to it, but I'm about loving people. And like, you know, the lad that I'm mentoring at the moment is autistic. He's had addiction problems, alcoholism problems. And since I've been working with him, the change in this young man is unreal, absolutely unreal. The power of self-belief, empowerment, and just loving on people and trying to teach them the right way.
Yeah, there is that, you know, there's that path you go through, and you have to go become the warrior before you become the priest. And it's amazing. But I have a friend named Khan over in Japan, and this guy totally phases out, you know, he phases in and out. I do it too. I have a lot of photographs of me doing it, but just an incredible guy. And he was the undefeated.
Oh yeah, I just saw another one.
Oh yeah. He was the undefeated street fighter.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, but he, yeah, that's where he ended up. And he's this big mountain. You know, he's like 6 something. I don't know how tall he is, probably 6'3" or 4. Yeah, Japanese guy, but he's big and he has incredible abilities and powers. But now he's just this big mountain of joy and bliss, and you'd be around him, and we hang out together and we just laugh, you know, and we were doing classes and workshops together and sharing, and it's amazing. But I've seen that over and over again where I was talking to Nino Rodriguez about that, and I was asking him, you know, I just said, he was talking about boxing or something. And I said, I got a question for you. I said, when you are you using your mind or your heart? You know, and he goes, well, you know, kind of like, if I was using my mind, I lost, you know, and it's really true. Your heart is the real driver. You know, it's your emotional body is massive compared to your intellect.
Yes.
And you can move so much faster, make quick decisions, everything when you're coming from the heart. And I said, well, it doesn't matter what you're doing. We need to go back into the heart, get out of the mind, get out of all the social engineering and nonsense going on, and just tap into that inner guidance, coming from the heart. And your heart has more neurons than your brain does.
Yeah.
Your soul actually sits right next to your heart. There's a cavity there, and your soul's connected to Creator. So, I mean, that's really what we all have to get back to. And when you have that connection, and you make your own monad connection that they call your own personal God connection, this other stuff is going to go away. It's going to be very threatened by your presence. And you will see people around you barking at you and trying to get you off track. But if you stay centered, they can bark all they want. You just laugh at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we do these days,
Yeah.
Just try and keep that light in our heart and, do everything with authenticity, which I think is lacking, sadly, darling. A lot of people, especially young people these days, they're so conflicted with everything that's going on in the world. And I know we alluded to it earlier, this whole stand for something or fall for everything. People think they're standing up for something for the right reasons, but kind of being mass manipulated by the powers that be and some very deceptive forces. And, you want to heal the world, but, I guess we've got to do that one person at a time, right?
Yeah. And heal yourself first.
Yeah.
That's these people that are coming after me actually consider themselves to be enlightened and healers and everything else. And I just go, oh my God, it's like, and they're trying to say I'm morally something or other. And I go, well, let's look at your life, you got a little gender confusion going on. Which is your path? That's okay.
Oh gosh.
Don't be coming after me, I'm just a loving, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But people in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones and freaking out. I'm just a normal guy. That's it. Sorry, I'm not into all that other stuff. But that, it's whatever.
Thinking on Corey, obviously you were talking about the blue entities in the past that you saw. But yet when Jason Sands mentions it, everyone believes that, on James Fox's recent documentary.
Right.
It's crazy, the parallels in how you can influence public perception of what someone is saying.
Well, I know for a fact that all of the UAP disclosure stuff you're seeing it's all manipulated. I mean, it's you have all of these new UAP or anomalous podcasters that came out of frickin' nowhere.
Big time.
Now they have all of these contacts. They have the best. They're getting people from the deepest parts of the military coming on their shows. And those people are putting out a certain narrative, and that narrative is being backed up by other people they're having on their shows. It's all being heavily controlled, and probably half the people sitting here are watching all the shows, lapping it up. Because it's entertaining, and it's confirmation bias. We only focus on things that confirm what we already believe. So, we're easy. Humans are easy pickings.
We tell a story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And everything has to make sense. It's like we don't remember everything. We continuously, and until you break that, like James said, come to a point where you realize, hey, everything's, until you know differently, let's assume it's a lie. And start from there.
Yeah, there's so many stories out there with nothing, where some of them are 70 years old. And you go, well, okay, that's nice. That's a story. What's happening now? Let's see some evidence, show me the picture. I mean, we have photographs of the masters appearing. We have incredible ships coming over, every size, shape, color you can imagine. We actually had them landing on the mountain, coming out of the mountain, responding to us. We know who's on the ships. We know their cultures, what they look like, their intentions, everything. And why are they not, you're not seeing us in any of these disclosure thing other than Corey's, but it's like, why are they, like, ancient aliens came out to my ranch. I gave them all this information and all they showed was my hand grabbing a camera. So if you don't think there's a controlled narrative going on, That right there alone. I gave him 2 hours of all this information. We told him exactly.
Not to mention the UFO International Congress. Like they somebody just asked, why aren't you guys invited? And I was like, because they are real. Because they are real people with real experiences.
That's I was invited, uninvited, and my talk was stripped off there. You can't even get my talk. And I know you tried to get it. I tried to get it. You tried to get it. Nobody can. It's like I was never there.
I went several years ago to Barcelona, and I didn't even get paid.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
aren't they just crazy? Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
This happens though. I tried to get James. I said, James, let me have a try at this, at getting it. And I went and they won't even respond. And I've tracked them down to their social media accounts. And I was like, they want nothing to do with it. And I've seen it. We've shown the picture where James does phase out. And I understand that. Like he turns into a light, or some people do it different. I just saw a picture on Facebook the other day where you're doing the same thing. And everybody cheers for him when he does this in front of a crowd. Everybody cheers. Wouldn't you think that would be the person you want back next year? James, did you ever get a call back?
No. You know what? I do a talk. When I do a talk, and I'm not trying to brag, it's just coming through me. But every talk I've given, the energies came in, the higher dimensional beings came in, women were crying in the front row. People's souls were being triggered, their memories, it was really powerful. And they had the biggest run to get a copy of the talk than they've ever seen at the front gate, So anyway, obviously the people really want to see this, and things happen a lot of times where you'll see I phase out, there's beings standing behind me, tall light beings, things like that. That all gets edited out and censored. The only reason I have those is from people in the crowd that took pictures, that saw it, and they took pictures. That's the only reason I have those pictures. But you would think if you were really into disclosure and really wanted to tell people what's going on, we would be first on the list, but actually we're off the list. We're totally off the list. And to me, if you've got spiritually and technologically advanced beings that are benevolent and they have, free energy, anti-gravity, counter-gravity, med beds, all that stuff, you'd think they'd be all over it. And the problem is that it's a controlled narrative, and they don't want that information out. They don't want that technology on the planet because they're enslaving people through dependency.
Yeah.
And they're making billions of dollars, big pharma, all these other things, they don't want you to be able to, they want to sell you tires, when your car doesn't even need tires. But I can go on and on. It's ridiculous, but I think that's all going to collapse in on itself.
But the ironic thing that I find is everyone's calling out for evidence. And there's guys such as yourself, Corey, you, they're presenting, tangible, real evidence that you can get your teeth into, but still it's being suppressed. And you would have to say that is done deliberately for a reason.
Yeah, we had A&E Paranormal State come out and told them exactly when the ships, where they'd appear and everything. They had their cameras ready. Boom, there's the ship, comes right over, powers up right over our heads. And it was nice because one guy was really skeptic on there, and he goes, by the way, James did say at 10 o'clock there'd be a ship coming over in the Northeast, and they go, what time is it? And he goes, 10 o'clock. So that's one of the few times that, but with Ancient Aliens, there was Peter Maxwell Slattery was with me. John Vivanka was with me. We all gave them the exact time where the ships would appear, everything. Yeah. And I didn't know. They asked us all separately, and I didn't know that. And we all gave the same information. And they didn't even have their cameras out.
Oh,
and
man.
It happened. It happened.
Yeah.
And they had the remote viewers. A ship would come over, and I go, that's a satellite. And they go, oh, no. And I go, no, it's a satellite. There's no energy there. There's no consciousness on that.
Yeah.
Well, the remote viewers remote viewed it, and they go, there's only technology. And they didn't know we were saying that. They were separate. They said, no, there's only technology. this other beautiful turquoise ship comes over, and the remote viewer is going, God, whoever's on that ship are angelic. They are so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we were going, oh, that's real. That's a Palladian ship, you know?
Yeah.
And so this has all been verified and everything else, but none of that, you know, it's only available basically through our site and stuff like that. There's a few places, but it's just not, I've never seen anything like it. And okay, it's bad enough they're censoring it, but to go on the full-on attack and try to destroy your life and destroy your reputation and destroy that, that's beyond it's not just humans doing this too. There's other things involved that are trying to keep this information away.
Yeah.
Out of the hands.
Oh yeah, they're sick. This is sick.
Yeah. Yeah. You see a lot of that, but you know, obviously an awful lot of that going on here in the UK as well. Where genuine information seems to be being suppressed for these UFO celebrities, shall we call them?
Yeah.
And they're the guys that get on all the podcasts, get on Joe Rogan and some of these other bigger shows. And you're thinking, you know, speaking to guys such as yourself, I know people that have been to your ranch, James, as we spoke about off air. You know, I've followed Corey's work since I first saw him, I think, on Jimmy Church, you know, going back 7 or 8 years ago. So, you know, it's like you've got to keep an open mind and an open heart to this. Mm-hmm. You know, who am I to judge anyone's story when I can't? You know, you can't possibly judge someone else's story. Go out to these places, have these experiences, engage with consciousness. You know, do things. Yeah.
You're talking about Robbie Williams coming out, you know, your friend Robbie Williams. And that's another experience that was really incredible. I mean, they were singing Beatles songs and all these orbs are coming in and big columns over them and everything. It was really amazing. And the guys that brought them out, that sponsored it, were not who you think they are, unfortunately. Yeah. And they were shitting their pants, excuse my language. Okay. They freaked out. A big ship came over and they had their binoculars and they're going, whoa, and they just threw the binoculars down and ran and poured themselves a bourbon, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, you know, and they turned out to be part of the troll, not Robbie, but the people that he was with turned out to be, because they censored. I mean, one of the guys had a major healing while he was there. And he recorded the sound of the ships. He had all these amazing experiences, and then he didn't talk about it. You know, he didn't talk about it. So I just go, wow, why aren't you? You know, he goes, well, we're not sure. There's lights up there. We're not sure what they are. And I go, you had the most amazing experience here. Yeah, you couldn't even walk. Now you're walking fine, and you got the ships. You know. And you got the ships on tape, everything. Yeah. I think actually Robbie Williams has a copy of that, of the sound of the ships. If you see him, tell him to find that for me.
Yeah, I will. I think he said it was 2004 he spent some time with you.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm really bad on time. I'm like, everything's in my mind as emotional impact, you know?
Yeah.
And so I get caught on that all the time. I go, oh yeah, they were just here. And then somebody at the staff goes, you know, that was like 10 years ago. And I go, oh shit. Yeah, it was. You know?
You're in that time warp too. I totally get that. There's a couple, I wanted to hit a couple comments, a couple questions in, I thought they were kind of cool, but and Corey, you don't have to answer this or whatever, but they want to know, and everybody's been asking if you and David Wilcox are ever going to collab at this point in time again, or.
That is unknown. Yeah, David has been hit from every direction, and he's just not in the best shape. So, you know, maybe someday we will. You never know.
I think they're more worried. So you do talk to one another, and you're
every once in a while we talk. But
that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
I have, like I said, about a year and a half ago, I refocused everything towards trying to rebuild my business that people had systematically tried to destroy, rebuild my life, started going back to church with my family. We were really pulling away from everything paranormal, So, I've tried to put a lot of this behind me, but for some reason, whatever this presence or phenomenon is, it seems to have pursued me and my family. Even today.
Definitely.
Got to bring in the lion beans.
Yeah.
Well, perfect.
As a matter of fact, James, I was going to ask you today, we would really love it if you would do a clearing of our home again.
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't James do the best clearings?
Really
oh my
does.
goodness. Yes.
I cleared the show before we started. Everybody's getting a little giddy or feeling a little weird. I was going to say, heads up, you might be feeling a little weird, but
that's awesome. He called. This is honest to God. He sent me a message. He's like, call me. He asked me before about a clearing. And I said, oh, could you do one? I didn't know what day of the week or anything like that. But I had all this emotional stuff. And I was like, God, I got to pull myself together to call James. I know what the hell is wrong with me. And then when I did, he's like talking to me and I'm like, how do you know? Like this is, he's like, that's normal to be going through. Da, 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 da. And I was like, what is going on? So, I mean, it was like, I was like, man, that right there, there's no possible way that made a total believer out of me. But yeah, he does amazing clearings. Definitely.
I show up to people a lot of times in their dreams and things like that. And they go, Mary, remember when you showed up in your dreams? I go, I have a vague memory of it. I kind of remember you're dealing with this and this, but we're all doing that. We just don't remember. We don't. The more we meditate and do our spiritual practices, the more the veils come down. We start realizing we are traveling in our sleep. We can connect to people instantly. We actually have an orb that sits right here in our chest that we can go out with 360-degree vision and go dimension jumping. And
I know how. Yeah.
They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that you can go out and influence and assist and help. They want you to just think you're a body and a personality, and keep you in chaos and confusion. That's the game,
Yeah. Dumb down.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's so true. That is so true. There's also another question on here. Where does the panel feel that we are currently at this dark ETs here right now? And thank you. That's from Pink Bella Aloha.
What was that again?
Where does the panel feel we are currently at the dark ETs, or with the dark ETs, I think is what she's trying to say, like that are here around us. Like
they're still here.
Yeah, they're definitely still here. There's a lot of people that are saying they're all gone. They're not. They're definitely not all gone, but they are being cleared out. They are being cleaned up. And a lot of them, what's happening is the veils are coming down and people are becoming telepathic. They're being able to see into other dimensions. They're seeing shadow beings and, they're starting to see them. And so as the energy keeps coming in, these guys, like I'm saying, they're losing control. They're losing the ability to shapeshift and hold their form. And you're going to see all these people. It's already happening. You're going to see all these people on TV with their eyes go slit and their eyes bug out and their hands turn into claws. And you're going to start seeing all of this. It's already happening right now if you do searches on it. But there's certain people in ufology, I won't mention their names, but they have a habit of turning into reptilians. It's kind of a
habit of it. They kind of like, yeah, that's what they do. I have never seen, and when you were talking before, such a group of people, and these people, it's like they don't eat, they don't sleep, and all their content, everything is like they're absorbed into you. Like Corey, I've seen Corey. You've got the worst like mega fan, like whatever that is I've ever come across. They're obsessed. And I'm like, how you seriously don't have to have like a life of your own of any sort. And like you guys said too, it's not just that they stop there. They try and do everything they can to systematically demolish anything that you have built up.
Yeah.
So true.
You want to cover that, Corey?
Anything to say to that one?
I think it's covered me up. It's covered me. Yeah, I mean, every dirty trick in the book has been used against us, and we're still here. We're not going anywhere. A lot of damage has been done. Absolutely. Small portion of people, follow our information compared to how many did in the past because of the campaigns. And a lot of the people that used to look, at our absorb our information are now absorbing information in other directions. And they don't realize that a lot of this stuff is, coming straight off of the, Joy of Satan Ministries website. And it's infiltrated ufology, all this galactic federation stuff, a part of it. There's all of it. If you look at the website, it comes from there. And they are very open about infiltrating ufology and bringing this lore into ufology to have us basically turn into quasi-Satanists, and it's really freaking scary to see all the people out there who would never follow that type of information in a million years. They dress it up and sprinkle a little love and light on it, and people with sparkly eyes give the information, and people just gobble it up. So
yeah. Have you seen they're taking these grays, right? And they put these little hats on them, and they give them funny names like, I won't even say their names because it'll talk about who's doing it, but and they all look like your best buddy. Here's this little reptilian guy, and he's got a funny little hat on, and he's got a baseball mitt. So be sure and bring him into your house. It's like, it's like, I go, oh my God, it's just like, these guys aren't going to play ball with you. It's not, not what they do.
No, that's not. That is definitely not what they do. Definitely not. There was another question in here too. Somebody wanted to know, the TV series Resident Alien had a blue avian in it. Corey, did they ask your permission, or how do you feel about that when you see, I guess, movies that are made?
Oh, we wrote them a strongly worded email. They did not have permission. No. That's one of the big things. That's why we're trademarking our material. It's because not only people in the community, but Hollywood goes dumpster diving, or whatever you want to call it, into the community looking for ideas for their TV shows and movies. So you have to protect your freaking information from people in the community and from Hollywood and from writers and all sorts of other creators. It's
what,
mind blowing.
I have a photograph of the original ET. I mean, I think I sent it to you, and it looks exactly like ET in the movie, but it was way before the movie came out, which is interesting. I have photographs of the feline beings, way before Avatar. And there's a story around that too, that they did know of the work we were doing. And there were people that were around that were involved, but all of this stuff coming out of Hollywood, I'm waiting for, I wrote a screenplay and I'm waiting for that to show up, on Hollywood. But I haven't finished it because I don't know how to write a screenplay. I wrote an outline of everything. But
well, you've got Spielberg dropping Disclosure Day, I think, here in the UK in June, I think it is, of this year.
Yeah.
Let's see what stuff they steal from, perhaps you guys again.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, really? Oh God. God only knows.
We had photographs of all of it. Actually real photographs and people witnesses, and we've had the photographs analyzed and everything. Jason Gleaves over in your area. Do you know Jason Gleaves?
Yeah, he was my mentor.
Yeah. He analyzed a lot of the footage and everything. He said this is 100%. This is 100% real. He analyzed Peter Slattery's work too. He analyzed a lot of those photos. Which
I see a lot of that work. He speaks so highly of Peter and yourself. So great guy.
I was with Peter. I was over there in Australia, and we had little wispies going by. A plating appeared in the bedroom. He's got a beautiful picture of that. We had incredible physical metallic ships that he got.
Yeah.
as well as light ships, everything. I mean, incredible stuff. And I was sitting with Peter at the table, and I said, man, I said, 5 o'clock. And he goes, what? And I go, we got to be outside at 5 o'clock, you know? And sure enough, we walked outside. Here's a big old ship hovering right over the house at 5 o'clock. But, you know, he's the real deal. He's got, we're on the same page. We're both getting the same information. And, you know, you can't, how do you deny that when you give an exact time and date, or you tell people where the ships are, or things like that? And it happens, you know, right on cue. You can't say there isn't some kind of communication going.
Yeah, it's not happenstance, is it? Or strictly, you know, coincidence. But
I have constant, I have constant communication going on by different groups, and it's almost like, come on, guys, you're like, you're messed up. There's too many in there, like one at a time. You know, it's like when you go into that interdimensional mind, it's just, you go into that, you just know it's like all this information is coming in.
So,
beings.
Question for you guys: is there a timeline that you're aware of to all this? Obviously, what we're seeing on the planet Earth right now, the way it's being played out, is there a certain timeline that we're in that it is going to get better?
Go ahead, Corey.
I think the potential is there, but humanity is so damn stubborn about wanting to choose a negative timeline.
Yeah.
Every time it looks like we could go towards the positive, we're like, no, and we kick back towards the negative, because we need to stay in what, you know, we're used to. I guess the cycle that we're used to, just like a battered wife, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder, because what I think is it is true that what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that there is some energy coming in, and resistance is futile. You know, it's like, it's so strong coming in. I don't even know if it's the solar flash or whatever. I think it's accumulation up to that. But there is so much energy coming in. I am watching people I never thought would ever get it calling me up going, God, I saw a ship. What's going on? You know, they're all shifting and having these incredible experiences, and they're changing. But at the same time, I'm seeing other people just get darker and darker and darker. It's like, to the point I'm just going, wow, how can you not see where you're going here? You know, because they're gone. They've been taken over by the demiurge and the archons and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be individual, you know, where you're at in consciousness, what choices you make is going to determine it. I don't think it's going to be a big mass thing. Everybody's going to flip on the other side and party and have fun, or everybody's going to crash and be recycled. I think it's free will, and choices are going to determine where you are when this bifurcation happens or this shift happens.
Yeah. Pick a side, right?
Yeah.
More to conquer and divide. Yeah. A question. Rayber wants to know, do you think that the current president will disclose aliens?
Aliens? That's a buzzword.
Yeah.
Non-human intelligence.
Yeah, that is a buzzword.
Dimensional beings. I think he will give the line that there is something. We have proof that there's something, but we're not sure what it is.
Yeah, he'll probably stay within the controlled narrative.
Yeah.
I'd love for him to go, you know what? You know, he knows what's going on, actually. I'd like for him to come out and say, you know, there are these spiritually and technologically advanced beings that are here to serve humanity, serve all creation, and they want to help us to ascend, but they don't want to be worshipped. They don't want to be, you know, they don't want control. They don't want to conquer us or anything else. And maybe we should entertain that possibility versus this other possibility of making agreements and pacts with these other numbskulls, you know, all these grays and reptilians and all these other little creepy dudes. You know, let's go with the ones that are more like us, you know, that are loving, compassionate, spiritually and technologically advanced, you know. But, you know, for somebody to step up and say that, you know, I know Dennis Kucinich, he came out and talked about his experience a long time ago. It ended his career.
Yeah.
And he knows what's going on. I wish he'd come back out again, but there's a lot of people. It's really sad, that giggle factor, the scientists, which don't have a clue, that they go, I have a PhD. And I go, in what? They go, what do you mean? I go, well, do they teach about UFOs in college? And they go, no. And I said, well, don't they teach that they don't exist? They're not even real. And they go, have you ever experienced a ship, seen a ship? You know anything about the occupants, their culture, their drives, their technology? Yeah. No. And I said, well, where's your PhD? Apply here. You know what I mean? And these are the guys running the show because they have a PhD. It's just like,
I know.
And it's usually working for the government, so forget it. It's not going to come. It's going to come. I love what Mother Mary said. She said, universal peace is going to come through the hearts and minds of the people, not through religions and not through governments. And it's going to be the same with ufology, with contact. It's going to come to the hearts and minds of the people, those who rose to the occasion. Those are worth contacting. There's no purposeful good in contacting a lot of us, because nothing good would come out of it. So if we rise to the occasion, they're going to come and say, hey, let's work together.
And I think, to answer the question that the view put in, I always say we are disclosure. Yeah. We don't need to look to a president or any other government elected official to come out on the White House lawn and go, yay, NHI is real. And, like you say, have that personal interaction, open your heart to this, and you will find there is this undeniable truth to what you guys are saying, what I'm saying, what Coley's saying.
I think his sons are going to say more than the president will, but they know what's going on.
Big time.
Especially Barron. Barron's knows what's going on, but
it's only a matter of time. I just hope they don't have, like, I always say to people, what are you going to do if you walk outside your house and you think you see a mass invasion of ET ships coming? What are you going to do? And I've even been asked that question. My response is, I'm going right back in the house and I'm picking up the phone and the megaphone or whatever I got to do. And I'm telling you, if you can't handle it, don't be looking outside. It's just kind of like.
That is going to happen. There is going to be a major uncloaking, and they're just going to sit. They're just going to sit and watch us go through our shit for a little while. And then maybe down the road. But, there are ones that are being cleaned out of here. There are ones you don't want to contact, the more metallic, more physical ones. A lot of those are just ours, or they're grays or low-level contacts going on. So
have you guys seen the recent videos? Obviously, the conflict that's going on the Ram with the orb showing up.
I've seen two major ships come over Iran and be zipping all over the place, and they're firing rockets at it.
Yeah.
And I know Israel's Iron Dome was firing at them, multiple rockets going up at these things, and they just like move out of the way. It's kind of a waste of. I think those things are like, aren't they several $1 million a shot or something like that?
Yeah, something insane.
I saw them launch about 20 of them. I go, well, they're weighing about 20 million plus. At something they know they're not going to hit. It's like, who's in charge over there?
Numbskulls are in charge.
Just on a monetary thing, on a financial thing, you just wasted, probably $30-40 million. Yeah. If you did know which ships were whose and what's going on there, you'd probably say, hey, let's hold this back, and wait for a rocket to come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's common sense. It's not much common. That's the thing about common sense. It's not very common.
No.
That's so true too.
I reckon that.
You know what? Think about this. Okay. Us going up against people that some of them are thousands of years ahead of us. Some of them are millions of years ahead of it, probably billion years ahead of us. Yeah. And we're going up there and we're firing at them. with rockets and F-35s and whatever. It's just like, are you serious? Where do you think that's going to go? We watched a jet vector in on a UFO, and it was going towards the moon, and this jet came in right on it, full afterburners, and all of a sudden it disappeared. It vanished. And I go, where'd the jet go? And we were trying to figure it out. So I went to meditation, and I talked to my friends up there, and I asked them, I said, where'd that jet go? And they told me, well, they go, he's going to have a hard time landing. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, he's in a different time. and they didn't tell me too much more, but we just may dig up an F-15, with a big dinosaur bite out of it somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what. I mean,
God only knows.
They can just move things wherever they want. They can phase in, phase out, jump. It's ridiculous. We need to be making friends with these people, the benevolent ones. If in the interest of national security, that's really where we need to go, because there are some malevolent ones that luckily we're already getting help with.
Yeah. But, it's funny because obviously I think it was an article last week saying now we're messing with EMP weapons now to bring some of these things down. Why poke a hornet's nest? It makes no sense. It really does.
Well, it's like going after a lion with a pea shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually you're going to piss it off.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Eventually you are. That's so true too. Somehow the tables always turn one way or another. Those tables always turn.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's awesome. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about next month? Would you give us, can we get, for those people, you still have tickets, don't you, Corey, for sale?
Yes, we do. If people want to watch online, they can, but this might be one of my last in-person conferences. I'm not sure. We're working with a potential investor to build out our film and video game business and all of that. So that will absorb a lot of my time and doing content for Ascension Works TV. So, if you've ever wanted to come out and hang out and meet me, tell me one of your stories of contact, this is the time.
And the dates again on that, so everybody knows.
Is it the 23rd, 24th, and 25th? It'll be in the video she's going to play. But
yeah, I love how everybody's on the same time. Yeah. This is great. This is great. No, I don't feel bad. That's awesome.
It might be one of my last appearances too. As a matter of fact, I kept saying no. I'm not gonna. I'm done. I'm done doing in-person stuff, and just because all the nonsense going on. But this might be one of my last things I do, and the only other things I'm gonna be doing is at the ranch. And then and eventually we'll be doing small groups here in Hawaii. I'm planning on that. But from May on, we have conferences and self-mastery classes and ambassador training and all that stuff. Peter Slattery's coming back out again. And we got some other things in the works too that I can't talk about right now. I promised Peter I wouldn't say anything, but some real people, real top scientists and physicists and people that know what's going on. We're going to be working with them. And so, which I love. I love, validation never gets old, so especially when the whole world invalidates you right now. But when you have the science that can validate what's happening, I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited for both of you. Very much excited. Like, I know that, and it sucks. So if you can, don't take, it's like, everybody wants to talk to somebody until they're no longer accessible. These guys are saying, hey, we've hung in here, like without the backing and the support of our community. We've been not even just that, we've been ousted out of the community completely. Don't ask where I've been now. I mean, it's, you got to move forward in life. And it just, I totally get that. And encourage people, if you can make it out there and see James and Corey, and there's so many other ones that are on there that you'll see at the end of the video. But yeah, if you can make it out there, it's definitely worth your while. Definitely worth your while.
Yeah, it's been rough. I know Corey's had his challenges too, but just keeping the doors open at ECETI lately has been rough, and especially here at Hawaii, we just had to put everything on hold, and especially with all the nonsense and tax going on and everything. But I think everything's going to bust wide open here pretty quick, and we kind of have to prepare for it. We're not ready yet, but especially when I go back. When I go back to Washington, I've got about 20 trees on the ground because of the storms that went through there.
Oh gosh!
Nothing happened to my place here. I mean, all around me got all messed up, but I think I had a ship. I know I had a ship over the house, but the jet stream was going right over us. It was making all this roaring, lousy noise. It was crazy, and just dumping rain, but nothing happened. It was like not one tree went down.
Wow.
What somebody wanted to ask you too, Avi Loeb, if you ever reached out. And I could say James, I remember when we did the show right after that about when Avi came out with the whole thing with the 3-eye atlas, and James kind of set it straight. But did you ever reach out, or did he reach out to you? I'm assuming probably not.
No, I don't think any of these people are going to reach out, even though we gave them all the information about what 3-1 Atlas was, what it was going to do. Everything. We gave them all that information ahead of time, and it did exactly what we said and validated it. But there was an intelligence on there. It was interdimensional. That ship is kind of like a portal, and it was an extreme AI. Like it was self-repairing, self-replicating, everything. It has the ability to do things beyond our wildest imagination, and we're only seeing the effects. We don't know how it did it, how it's doing what it's doing, because it's outside of our physics, basically. But the beings on there were very ambivalent when we checked them out. They didn't want to talk to us. Oh. and so they finally started talking to us. They kind of ignored us at first, which I understand. But we asked them, they said, "Are you going to help us here on Earth?" And they said, "No." I'm like, "Well, you
guys get on with it."
No, and I said, "We're just gathering data. We are going to influence some things and help things out, but we're just a data gathering ship." And I said, "So you're not going to help?" And they said, "Well, we will work with the councils, the higher councils, but we're letting them do. They're going to do their thing. We're kind of like, we will provide some support, but mainly they're not. It's when you get a being that advanced as they are and everything, they're just saying why."
Oh God, why? Yeah,
they're gonna go,
why again?
Why am I gonna go down there? I go, look at what you're doing.
Who drew the short straw? And you're coming back down.
Each other, you're destroying the environment. You can't even get along, with the colors you have there now. It's just like, what's a blue bean or a green bean gonna do down there?
Shake things up. Shake things up.
I started laughing when I got that response. I just started laughing. And I said,
it's so true when you say
I can't argue with that. I cannot argue. I hate to say it. I cannot argue on behalf of humanity right now. But
I just want to give them.
I do have hope
for it.
I do have hope. There are a lot of people that are figuring things out and are waking up. So, and they went through that. They had their history where they screwed up and destroyed their planets and everything, So
yeah, don't forget about that. Yeah. We'll
so
remind them.
They know, they know the challenges we're under. So
I know, but even though you've been through your toddler years, it's sometimes not easy to go back and maybe watch a room full of them. Even though I was a toddler once too, it just doesn't always seem that appealing.
That's a good analogy, It's like, well, I'm working with quantum physics right now, and I have to go talk to these toddlers. is that the best use of my ability? You know,
Yeah.
I
Get
love
the
kids.
paper
I love
and the
kids and
crayons.
animals. I totally love hanging out with kids and animals. A lot of them are very plugged in, you know, if we just give them a chance.
Yeah.
I do too.
Totally
It doesn't mean I want to watch a room full of them though, James.
I don't want to change the diapers. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't want to run a daycare or anything like that.
And just a quick question, open-ended to both Corey and yourself, James. If you could address world leaders directly, what would you urge them to do right now regarding disclosure? If you could have one message.
Corey's been quiet. We'll let Corey take
That is a good question. I think that it's time that they let the information out, unbiased, let everyone else look at it and make up their own minds.
Yeah.
There's going to be, when they do offer the data, there's not going to be one truth, one answer to it. There's going to be 8 billion.
Yeah.
8 billion views and understandings of what this is. And so, yeah, it'll be an interesting time for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that I would go to them and say, you know what, it's over. You know, it's over. It's going to happen no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it. You best get in line with this and basically, you know, let people know that there's more to the universe than we can imagine, and there's more to us than we can imagine. We're not just a body and a personality. Yeah. We're actually multidimensional beings existing on a vibration continuum, and our soul is connected to Creator. You know, so. And that's what I would say. And being that we all exist within this unified field, maybe it's time we get along and start working together. And you know, because what we do to anything we do to ourselves, it's all connected. Everything is connected. And so I just say, you know, like, time to rise to the occasion. I mean, there's like the woman in Italy, what's her name? The president there. I'm not sure what. I love her.
You mean, yeah.
Oh, man, she's just taking names, you know. She's just like not messing around. And there's other political leaders that are coming out now and just saying, we are not doing this anymore. You know, I am taking care of my people. And you guys are not going to siphon everything off of us anymore and keep us enslaved through dependency. So I think basically, you know, just lay down universal law and just say, hey, here, time to adhere to universal law. If you're not, the people need to put somebody else in there. You know, it's really easy. The whole solution is really simple. It's like, be kind and loving. I mean, how hard is that? It's not rocket science.
No.
You know, just be kind to each other, be loving, you know, cooperate, you know, and that's all. I mean, it's not, you know, like the Lama said, you know, focus on love and joy and bliss until you become it. And when you realize the Creator is omnipresent within all creation, then you can't harm creation anymore. It's not possible.
No, you become untouchable.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's, you know, some of them are just, I don't even want to say it. There are some leaders that a lot of them aren't even around anymore. They're just masks and clones, you know, but some of them, I think there's going to be a huge cleanup. I think it's already underway, and there's a lot of people that are already done. They're already been dealt with, but there's a lot more work to do.
There is, but if there's a message of hope within that for, you know, not just ourselves having this conversation tonight, but all the viewers tuning in.
Yeah.
I think that's a tremendous message of hope, and hope is a powerful thing. You know, hope will get you through these dark days, especially what's going on and being played out, you know, around the world at the moment.
You know, I was thinking about this. We have the ability to channel the full Creator through us, through the heart. That pure unconditional love and joy and bliss in any situation. And that energy is so powerful. It's thousands and millions times more powerful than the negative.
Yeah.
And what if we all just did that? What if we all just focused on love and joy and bliss and just send it out to the entire planet in the four directions? And if we did that on a regular basis, it works. It's measurable. You know, you can have a huge impact.
Yeah.
If you do
The
that.
inversion, I call it. That's exactly what I think we need to be doing right there.
And look how it's measured in things like cortisol levels and whatnot. You know, the science is there. It's just people are sort of unknowingly dismissive of that.
Yeah, I think we should call in these 17-foot tall light beams and have them slap some of these people.
All else fails, I'm putting my money on them.
Every once in a while you have to do, but you have to know they're there, and you have to know they are here. There are some that are here to help, and you have to start, but we have to ask for it. You know, we have to rise to the occasion, because, you know, a lot of them are just letting us figure it out. You know, they're not going to trespass. They're not going to trespass on free will. And, you know, if we want to keep...
You've taught me that, James.
Yeah.
You have to ask, E.T. You have to ask.
Yeah.
Exactly. And never let it take you away from your own personal God creator connection. It's that's your center, and you can experience everything else from that, you know, but, and it's all out there, and some of it's awesome to engage. Some of it you don't want to engage, and you have to learn to set boundaries and clear these entities out.
Yes. And I really want to thank both of you for coming on, and I mean, just sharing all you have shared. And despite all of the repercussions that you have gone through, you guys are still here. And I just, you know, Jay, I think this is amazing. You're here. Corey, James, you always know that. I stand. I'm ready. Got my signs in hand. I got you guys too. You know, just know you do have support out there. Before we get close, tell everybody where they can find both of you at.
Go ahead, Corey.
They can find a lot of my main information at CoreyGoode.com. We do podcasts and other shows on Ascension Works TV, and all of my video games, books, and films are going through Disclosure Media Incorporated, which is disclosurecomics.com website.
Do you do your show on Sunday nights? Is that what I saw, Corey?
Yes, monthly.
Monthly, okay. Yeah. I caught you over on James on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Over at As You Wish. But that's
so funny. Right now, this is so weird. There's this really high-pitched ringing going on. It's like having a little entity. I mean, it's positive, but the last show I was on, it was crazy, man. All this energy was going nuts, and you could hear it. Was on Michael Sala's show on Exopolitics, and I have these sensors out in the back that let me know if there's anything running around back there, and they were going off like crazy. They're infrared sensors, and he goes, "What is that?" You know, and I go, "Oh, that's my sensors going off. Let me know we got visitors." But it's kind of funny. But anyway, you can. To find us, basically, we're on Rumble, we're on YouTube, I go into Rumble into the chat and talk to people and tell bad dad jokes and stuff like that.
I always think they're funny. Hey, you're funny.
And, you know, you got to stay grounded. But we're on, you know, basically X, all of them. And then, and you can go to our website at ECETI.org. It's ECETI.org. And it stands for Enlightened Contact with Extra-Terrestrial Intelligence. But you can go there or go to ECETITV.com, and where we have all of this information, people from all over the world and their lectures and talks. And there's so many ways to get, or just, you know, send us an email to the website, you know, if you want more information. But we are going to have some amazing conferences coming up and gatherings, and it's going to be, it's going to be wild, because I mean, they're here. When Peter came here, we had these incredible pink Arcturian ships. I sent you pictures of that, video of that too. And it was amazing. We had light beams appear right in front of us, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff went down. But
Wow.
I know when I get back to the ranch, it's going to be really crazy. And you know what we should do is organize some kind of a skywatch, Corey, at your event,
Yeah.
because I know they'll
Let's
be
do it.
there.
Oh God.
Yeah, at the last
I know,
event,
I'm like, I gotta
I got
go
great
now.
footage.
Jeez.
yeah, James at our last event did an unofficial one. Him and a bunch of people walked out behind the hotel, and things started appearing in the sky. So, yeah, come on out. We'll do a sky watch.
Yeah, they blew my camera up.
Yeah.
Oh, did it take your battery out?
No, I couldn't get it. I had the most incredible footage, and
Oh, I hate when
that camera, it was on the camera, and they somehow, it was afterwards, after I already got home, the camera was just fried. I couldn't even get it off the camera. So it's too bad it wasn't on a chip. You know, I should have put it on a chip, but I mean, I have so much footage. It's just like 40 years.
You sent me a ton of footage, and I was like, James, when did you get all this? No, it was from a day over the 4th of July, maybe 2 over the 4th of July weekend. And I was like, what do you mean you got all of this? And like
multiply that times 40 years if it's clear skies. You can imagine what we have.
I was like, no way. And it's like going through, you can hear everybody's just in the excitement, and you know that experience. If you've been there and you've ever experienced one of those, you can just like instantly you connect to that. And I was like, so yeah, all in one weekend, James.
I know what, and they're giving you what, a fuzzy tic tac?
I know.
Oh, look, here's a fuzzy tic tac. We don't know who's in it. And
we can, yeah. James is there coming over and coming over. I'm like, oh my God.
Here's one we shot a missile at, and of course it didn't work. And I mean, that's about it. I don't know what else. They're not showing anything.
Yeah.
They have it, you know.
They definitely do. Between you and Peter, I bet you could put. I mean, I can't even imagine the library that all that holds.
Go to the website, and if you go to YouTube or anything, there's so much footage on there. It's insane.
Yes, and they I'll get all your links in there. Definitely go subscribe and check out Corey's channel. Definitely, James is back on YouTube. I know that you've always kind of been here, but now that the stuff got reinstated, it's great to see you doing lives and stuff back on here, James. So it's awesome.
Awesome. Hey,
yes.
Thank you guys. Awesome meeting you, Jay, and
Corey.
You too. Again, and thanks everybody for all the work you're doing and getting this information out, because we're like the Four Musketeers here. You know, it's just like there's not a lot left.
You know, it's got to start somewhere, and I think this is a very good basis. Like, you know, it's just like you have to. I always say, if you see something, you say something, and you do something. Don't just sit by and let people. Don't let this go on. Don't let this harassment and this like straight up. I mean, malice attacks even go any further. You
know what's really weird? I mean, not to.
No, go ahead.
I feel like I have to say this. There are people that are. They're all involved with, you know, the mainstream ufology thing, the program. I don't want to say who's who. And they all are getting their stuff on these channels, right? And they are told, do not mention his name, my name. And these guys have all, I mean, you can hear these guys in the video screaming and yelling and major people out there that are on the front lines right now. And if they would say, you know what, I was there, it's real, and come clean with it and stop censoring and stop, you know, they need to come out and give old Joe Rogan a call and say, hey, I know you invited and uninvited James, but maybe we can all get on the show together, you know, like something like that. I mean,
let's hold them accountable. James, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. Yeah. And there's so many people, and I've heard so many testimonies. You've been to ECETI Ranch. You've been, you know, with either of these individuals. Get out there. Let's post it. Let's get it out there so people remember and know. There's people out there. They are absolutely aware who James is, who Corey is. They're absolutely aware of their abilities, and that's why they do everything they can to stop it. But you're right, James. There's more of us than there are of them.
So that's what I think. I think all the people that are, a lot of it has to do with money, and there's the club, and if you're not part of that club, you don't make the money, and so those people in the club are going to have to start stepping up the plate and saying, hey, come on, these guys are real. I was there. The information's real. It's time to step up to the plate, because.
And let's go to the UFO International Congress. And I have the information too. I think we all need to demand that video that shows James literally phasing out and shows a being behind him. Someone was gracious enough to give him a picture. We had put it on the show before, but let's hold them accountable. This is what we should. This is James. This is bravo for this. Like, this is what we need to be challenging people to do.
Yeah, step up to the plate. You want disclosure? Go outside, meditate, and with your camera, and get your own footage, and go out and let her rip. Don't give a damn what your neighbors think or anything else.
I didn't. Yeah,
out there. They're everywhere. The ships are everywhere right now. You can't miss it.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to have to drop off.
Yes, no, I want to thank you so much again, Corey. Yes, and thank you, James, and we'll be in touch very soon. And hopefully we'll see you next month, and I'll get that plate at the end. So thank you both very, very much. Aren't they amazing?
That was incredible, wasn't it?
Yes, it really was. It really was. And I have to say, like, your perspective on things, it's so refreshing to hear. And I'm so glad that not just anybody would want to come and sit on the panel, because they fear of these repercussions. And it says a lot, like it really does, about you, your character, and who you are. And I have to say, like, in watching all of your stuff, you're so humble and you're so positive. And you're so, I even saw a post that you wrote, and you're like, you know what? If I choose to remove myself, it's not because like my issue, I've dealt with my issue, I know who I am. And I'm like, man, you need a standing ovation on its own right there. So,
no really, better, no worse than anyone else doing this, We're all in this together, aren't we? We're just trying to navigate through this. What does it say? We're going through an awkward phase called life.
Yeah, right. The growing pains are real. Oh, yeah. Like, man. Yeah.
We just do what we do and do it in the right way, I think. So,
but you're so level-headed and grounded. I think that it's absolutely refreshing. I'm kind of like, I get a little like riled up where I'm like, all right, the things, but you come in and you're very much like a calm, like, you can just feel like the calmness. And I think, gosh, I hope nobody disrupts your peace, because that peace should be felt by so many. And just before, when you said too about hope, and that's so true. It's like, there is hope. A lot of times people don't see other outcomes.
Yeah, I think too much of it, we focus on what we don't have instead of waking up and literally counting our blessings every morning. The fact we get to wake up and get another bite of the cherry, that's amazing in itself, isn't it?
That's amazing to hear. Yes. Well, I've not always felt like that, but in reading some of your stuff, it's like uplifting. And I was like, wow, it makes me get out of the, little rut that whatever of dealing with people sometimes in the social media end. And I'm like, wow. You are so grounded, and that is such, you're not just talking the talk, you're leading by example, and that's huge. That is
try to, otherwise I'll be a hypocrite, and sadly there's a lot of that goes on, isn't there? If you don't lead by example, how do you teach?
That's exactly.
So
true.
What is it they say? James said earlier, if we each went out and, was a little bit more loving, maybe a bit more empathic, and understanding the reasons why some people act the way they do, this world would be like such a better place. And I guarantee it'd probably fix a lot of our issues overnight.
Oh, yeah.
But, my path, and I think this is the point you get to, is my path is not someone else's path. And they've got their own lessons in life to learn. And I'm still learning too. So.
Yeah, and everybody in the audience is really taken to you. So, tell them where they can find you, Jay. And I know that there's a future project, and hopefully we'll get that put in motion. But I
Yeah.
honestly, yes, I'm excited to work with you on future projects. You're absolutely
likewise.
wonderful.
So Anomalies Archives, I'm also involved with. We've got a little conference over here in November called the Festival of the Unexplained, which I'm co-hosting. So you can find me on Jay Austin over on Facebook, or Jay Austin MMA, I think, over on Instagram. So yeah, I'm happy to connect with, any like-minded souls. And I try and get back to everyone, even if it takes me a week or two to kind of reply. I do try and get back to people. So yeah.
You're very real. You're very, very real. And I'm
So
cheering you on.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. And I guess in closing, is there anything that you want to leave the audience with?
No, just, I think the overall message from, Corey and James tonight is, you don't, when you see something wrote on the internet, and you touched upon it earlier, with something you were alluding to, where do your own due diligence, don't follow the crowd. Even if it's the unpopular thing to do, don't buy into this, because you can see tonight, look at what Corey's been through, what James has touched upon. It's crazy.
They shudder. I've seen Corey get real shaky about. I've seen James, where you can tell this is something that legitimately has gone after the portions of their life they hold most sacred.
Yeah, and I've got buddies in the, here in the UK, and, a dear friend of mine that's in Canada, and what's happened to him is just, he's still dealing with the after effects of that now. When, someone's asking, can we get the links in the chat? So
yeah, they want to know how they connect with you.
Yeah, not a problem at all.
I was gonna say I can type them in. Which ones did you want put out there? Because I know I have one in the description, but for your Facebook group. But
yeah, put the Facebook group in. I'm happy to connect with people on my personal profile. I'm me. There's no airs or graces or pretensions. So yeah, happy to connect with whoever comes my way.
That's so true, because you're like, I said your social media links, and you're like, well, I said my personal one that I use, it was, I guess, is now social media. I had no idea that's what it would turn into.
The reason behind that, and literally I've had my own stalker recently, so literally going to a gig, and it got a bit messy, so I had to get authorities.
Oh, didn't I read it? Oh gosh, I forgot. Oh boy. That's scary. That's scary.
Big time.
Oh gosh. So I'm going to put your Facebook one on here for the archives, and then your Facebook one is it just under Jay Austin, right?
Yeah, just under Jay Austin, JAYAUSTIN.
And I know that some of them are on Instagram. You're on Instagram also, right?
Yeah, Jay Austin MMA is in mixed martial arts.
Awesome. Okay. So I will get those out there, and I got that one down, and then Facebook, and then Instagram. So under martial arts. So perfect. Yeah. That's awesome. It's always great to see when people connect with somebody. So that's amazing. That's amazing. No, I have no doubt that you're destined to do huge things. And I'm like I said, I'm cheering you on. So.
I hope so, but do it in the right way.
Yes. And yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like, your heart alone. And in some of the conversations, I'm like, man, you just don't connect with somebody, but it's your way. It's your way of being that you are. You care. You can definitely tell you care about people, and you care about, and it's just like, you're like a breath of fresh air. You really are. You really are.
Thank you. Yeah, and likewise, I'm really glad, we connect and we become good friends, and, let's do this again.
Let's definitely do this again. Well, on that note, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown. I'm Coley, also known as ColeyUFO, here on SNX Radio, and we have Jay Austin. And if you guys don't already follow him, definitely get over there and check out his work. He's He's amazing. And then I guess until next time, I'm looking forward to it though. I think that we'll definitely, there's some projects in the works. I can see them going places. All right. There we go.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Are you ready to take part in a gathering that could change the way you see life and the universe? The Disclosure Summit 2026 is calling you. On April 24th, 25th, and 26th in Loveland, Colorado, seekers, visionaries, and truth explorers will unite for 3 unforgettable days of connection and revelation. This is your chance to be with Corey Goode, Geraldine Orozco, Lori Williams, Darlene Joy, Liam Erelum, James Gilliland, Caressa Ayers, Mike Waskowski, and many others who will share their insights on consciousness, awakening, and the great mysteries of existence. Can't travel? Don't worry. You can also be part of the experience by streaming the entire event live from anywhere in the world. This is more than a conference. It's a transformative journey of inner growth, unity, and discovery, bringing together a community of souls walking the same path. Secure your spot now at thedisclosuresummit.com.